I am here with the brilliant and beautiful Serena Henry. Serena is a Mind Rebel coach, a beloved alumni of the MRA. And Serena, I'm just so thrilled to connect with you. It's been a while since you and I had like a deep, meaningful, soulful chat. And I'm just thrilled to be here with you.
Oh, ditto, ditto. I'm so excited. As I always tell you, anything you ask me to do, it's an automatic yes. I don't even have to think about it or question it. Where do I sign up? Yes.
Oh. So when I asked Serena today, what do we want to talk about? This is all about opening up the pages of our diaries and having these real, raw, meaningful conversations. And so one of the things that we are both kind of really wanting to explore is the icky stuff. Like moving, in that intro when Mandy's, has that beautiful intro of the Mind Rebel Diaries where she talks about moving through the discomfort and like what it actually looks like to live a deeply examined life and the discomfort.
Yeah.
And I think this is such an important conversation, Serena, because, I think that it's really important for people to know you're not alone inside the ick or inside the discomfort. And that even when you are pursuing your dreams and you are on the path and you are living a deeply examined life and you're doing the work and all the things, it can still feel super uncomfortable. And what I loved about, when Serena and I jumped in here into the broadcast studio, I said, "How are you?" And you said, "I'm okay." Right. And you said, "I'm getting used to saying I'm okay," and not just like, "I'm great."
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
That was refreshing.
Yeah. It was refreshing to actually say it out loud. It's becoming more refreshing and it's becoming normal for me. I've lived so many years of my life and I'm almost 40. I wouldn't say pretending, right? I don't want to use that as a word, but maybe walking around with this veil that everything is hunky dory. There's a part of me that just does not want to rock the boat for people, right? I don't want people to worry about me. I don't want to be anybody's burden, right? But as I have grown in who I am as a woman, doing that doesn't serve me, right? I feel like it protects the other person from experiencing my truth. But in actuality, I'm not living it by just saying, "Oh, I'm great." So now my response is, "I'm okay." Like if that's the space that I'm in, then that's the answer I'm giving. I'm okay. I'm okay.
It's authentic and it's refreshing.
Yeah.
And it also, you arriving into our space like that gave me permission to say, yeah, I'm kind of just okay too.
Yeah.
I'm not great today.
Or I haven't been great for a while.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I think we don't talk about the messy parts of life, right? I think we almost fast forward to it because it's so uncomfortable and it's like, oh, I don't want to look at that. I don't want to examine that. I don't want to dive deep into that.
Yeah. And I don't want to show that. I don't want
to
to
show that. Absolutely. Absolutely. And I've lived my life being super, super strong. Innately, that's who I am as a person. I get it from my mom. I get it from my grandmother. That's how I'm rooted in my culture. It's just presenting this strong presence, this a certain kind of bravado. But again, that doesn't allow me a full human experience. And sometimes shit just feels crappy.
Yeah.
There are moments when I'm just like, okay, what am I doing today? What's happening in my life? Because it feels rocky. It feels a little unstable. And it's important to sit with that.
Yeah. In the rocky and stable. And you can share as much or as little as you want about like what's up for you in your life right now, and like where you are and what is actually rocky and unstable in your life right now. But what, when I think about the rocky and stable times, I think about like my instinctual desire to run through that as quick as humanly possible. We talk a lot about in the MRA, we talk a lot about the expansions and the contractions, and how when we're growing, when we're doing our work, when we are, birthing visions for our lives out into the world, it's not a linear process. It's not like I feel great today, I feel fantastic tomorrow, I feel brilliant the next. It's not like a linear process. It often feels so unlinear. Like
it feels like a roller coaster.
It feels like a roller coaster. And in the MRA we talk a lot about how it's like how a woman births new life into the world. Her uterus will expand and then contract and then expand and then contract. And that's what the journey of growth feels like, these expansions and these contractions. And I know for me, when I'm in the contraction, even though I know it's part of the process, I just want to fast forward the contraction as quickly as possible.
Yes. Same. And I've done that a good majority of my life. Right. And when you constantly repeat a cycle like that, you almost end up back in the same spot. Right. So the best way to actually go through something is to actually go through it.
So Serena, for you right now, what is like actually going through it and sitting in it? What does that look like for you?
I think it's a different process every day, but sometimes it's just actually taking a beat to pause and examine it, right? For me, feeling stuck and feeling uncomfortable feels like a cesspool. Actually, it feels like you're in quicksand, right? And like you're being pulled into this hole so rapidly, but you can see that there's a way out, right? Maybe there's a stick there or something that you can cling on to. Maybe there's a person way out there that you can call out to. And yet you feel like your voice is stifled. You feel like you can't move and you just feel trapped. That's what feeling stuck. That's what that feels like. And so sometimes for me, it's best to not move at all. Like just to be present. Don't panic.
I'm almost picturing panicking in quicksand. Like
absolutely.
That would just like you'd fall and like your hand would get stuck and you're just like you're like drowning in all the areas.
Yes, I think that's the knee-jerk reaction for most people is to panic because you have no idea what's happening. But sometimes if you take a beat and pause and just kind of survey what's happening around you and to you, you'd be surprised that the answers are there and they're actually in close proximity. But it's kind of getting through that part first.
I know you are such a spiritual woman, and you have a deep connection to God and the universe. And how does that come into play for you?
Oh, that might make me cry.
It doesn't. Every time I'm reminded of that, when I'm feeling stuck, it makes me want to cry.
Yeah, it does. And I've done my fair share of crying and also allowing myself to cry, right? Because to me, crying is not a sign of weakness. Crying is a sign of experience. It's a sign of growth in a lot of ways. I was listening to something. Johnny and I are trying to be very intentional about how we start our day, right? So we get up, we stretch, we make our juice, we listen to something inspirational and powerful. One of my favorite mentors and life coaches is Les Brown. And he said something, I'm going to read it. He said, you got to have faith and your faith will give you patience.
Mm.
Yeah. You
I'm
gotta
writing
have
that
faith.
down.
Yeah. And your faith will give you patience. And I've been sitting with that. I've
Yeah.
been sitting with that because my faith keeps me anchored in a lot of ways, but there are moments when my faith wanes. I'm human. There's moments when I have to question God because I'm like, what is up?
Yeah. Like, what
What's
is this?
yes, what's happening? What are we doing?
What?
Where's the breakthrough?
Yeah. So you got to have faith, and your faith gives you patience. Did I get that
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. And your faith will give you
Will
patience.
give you patience.
Yeah.
Um, Sometimes when I'm in that stuck place and it's at the point how you just described okay, God, like what the F, what
Yeah.
the actual F.
Yeah. Yeah.
um, I sometimes start to wonder, and it's almost like this glimmer of like reconnection or like calmness washes through my body when I start to think, what if there's another way? You know,
Mm-hmm.
I think we as humans, we get so stuck on, we think we know the way and we think
Mm-hmm.
our plan is really damn good.
Mm-hmm.
And we're like, if you would just listen to our plan, you would see how good it is.
Yeah.
And like it would unfold in the perfect way, and it's not unfolding in the perfect way, and it's frustrating.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's almost as if God, the universe, whatever you call it, whatever everyone else calls it, it's like there's another way that we can't see.
Mm-hmm.
Does that resonate for you,
Oh,
Serena?
100%. It reminds me of a saying that if you want God to laugh, tell him your plans.
Mm.
Yeah.
I'm writing that one down too. Oh my God, that makes me want to cry.
Yeah. Oh God, yeah. Yeah. If you want God to laugh, tell him your plans. And I have to remember that. I mean, so much of what you just said resonated with me, and that was my first thought because I think sometimes our ego takes over and we feel like we know everything. We feel like we know the way, right?
Mhm.
And then God, the universe, and life will humble you very quickly. Especially when you get out of a place of not trusting the
Mhm.
process, right? Even if your source is not God, you don't call it that, right?
Yeah,
But
right.
just trusting and leaning into the process. When you get away from that, I feel like that's when the foundation gets super rocky because you're trying to press fast forward on the bumpy parts of the ride.
Mhm. Um, One thing that my mind does when I'm feeling that disconnect, when I'm not trusting the process, like my first indication is that I am like too far down the roadmap, planning out all the hows, like all those dreaded hows.
Mm,
And that can feel so constricting and so limiting. And I think one of the hardest things to do is to lean back and trust.
hmm
Like in that contraction, one of the
Yeah,
hardest things to do is lean back,
yeah,
sit in
yeah.
it, and trust that I might not be able to understand all of the pieces. And I shouldn't be able to understand all the pieces because I don't have the whole plan. I don't have the
Mm,
roadmap.
mm,
I don't have all the pieces of the puzzle. Like that's not my job.
right. Yeah, yeah. And it just kind of took me back to what you were saying about the birthing process for a woman and how the uterus expands and contracts
Mm-hmm.
continuously. But I think, and obviously I'm not a mom, but I think for a woman, you probably get to a place where you have to trust your body,
Yeah.
right? Trust that your body is going to
Yeah.
be able to birth this child, despite what you're
Mm.
feeling, right? Despite the pain, despite like, I can't do this, I can't push anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And then a
Mm-hmm.
miracle happens.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like the greatest gift you've ever received, right? Because you trusted the process, because you waited, you were patient.
Yeah.
You didn't
Oh my
force
gosh, I
this baby
love
to come
that.
out. Yeah. Yeah.
And it's almost like it's like to build on that analogy, I think back to childbirth. And it was like there comes a point where it's just like your body won't let you control anymore.
Mm,
It's like it
mm,
takes over, and it's like that's the surrender. Like,
yes.
and I remember that feeling of being like, I have zero control anymore. It's
Mm,
something bigger has taken over,
hmm.
and it's like you are just like along for the waves and along for the
Yeah.
ride of it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And imagine if we could have that same surrender inside all life's contractions.
And that's a huge word for me. I think the word surrender, for whatever reason, makes me uncomfortable, right?
Hmm.
Because it's that relinquishing of control in some way.
So, what are you actively surrendering right now?
Mm. Oh boy, that's a good question. Let me sit with that for a moment.
Yeah.
What am I actually surrendering right now? That I'm not in control all the
Hmm.
time. I'm not supposed to be. I don't have all the answers. Like you said, we're not supposed to have all the answers. I would say these last 5 to 6 months it's been a season of trials, right? It's been back to back things happening. And there have been many tears in that process. And choosing to surrender because I can't control what is happening right now. But what I can control is my response to it.
Hmm.
Choosing to see the lesson and the blessing inside of it, because it's somewhere in there, but I have to do a little surrendering in order to see it and experience it. And that's not a linear process either.
No, it isn't, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, the the lessons, like the hidden gems, the hidden like pearls of wisdom
Yeah.
inside the contractions. Those are that's like the invisible work, isn't it?
Mm. Oh my God. Yeah. Yeah.
And it's the kind of work where sitting in the discomfort of the contraction, being with it, surrendering to it, actively surrendering, because like you said,
Hmm.
that's not a linear process, and it's very, very challenging to do. But like when I'm in those moments, I feel like I'm actually really unproductive, like
Mm.
in the
Hmm.
physical sense,
Hmm.
because
Hmm.
all of my energy is being like directed inward.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I feel like that feels like something, for me anyway, it feels like an important acknowledgement of this is invisible work we're up to in these contractions. And this is real work.
Hmm.
Like this is
Hmm.
the real work.
Yeah. 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 I love what you said, the invisible process, because it is.
Yeah.
There's especially going through the MRA journey, where we talk about so much work that you have to do,
Mm-hmm.
right? And then that continues afterwards,
Yeah.
right? Like that's some of the greatest tools and gifts that we received, is the work that you do in the in-between moments and stages of your
Mm-hmm.
life, right? Especially because we're we're in an industry where we serve others.
Yeah.
But how do you do that if you're not serving yourself?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
and it and it's that silent work that you do. And it's constant and it's exhausting. It's so exhausting.
And we always say like you can only go as deep with another as you are willing to
Mm.
go with yourself. Like,
Yeah.
and that's what that looks like.
Mhm. 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 How easy is that process for you?
Mm. The sitting with myself process.
Yeah. Yeah.
um when I'm in a contraction, I think that I was about to say it gets easier, but I'm really not sure that's true.
It's not.
I don't think that's true. I don't think that's true. I think that it still feels really shitty. And
Yeah.
I think that what has made all the difference is of really remembering and reminding myself that this is the process.
Mm-hmm.
And that the more I fight the contraction, the more I fight against it and resist it or suppress it or pretend like it's not there, like, oh, I don't want to go here, right? The more I do that, the longer it takes. Like the longer I'm in. And that moving through that discomfort is challenging.
Yeah.
But every time I do, and every time I get to the other side, and it's almost like the wave of the expansion is in direct proportion to the squeeze of the contraction that came before. Like the slingshot, like the slingshot effect.
Yes. Yeah.
And so when I'm in like the really squeezy ones, I'm like, oh, there's just so much being uprooted and it's so uncomfortable. But like, I know what's on the other side of this.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm going to trust that what's on the other side is healing and free. And there are parts of myself that are being shed and let go of. And, that's like in our day and age of highlight reels on social media, when we look at other people's beautiful, shiny lives, we could look at that and think that this is how everybody else feels. Everyone feels happy and joyful and everything's perfect all the time. And that could just not, it just does such a disservice.
Yeah. Yeah. Because life is not a filter.
No.
It's not.
It's messy.
Yeah, it's messy. It's beautiful. It's a roller coaster. It's wonderful. And then it sucks sometimes.
Yeah.
And this is a season where I feel like, okay, life, like I said, it just feels shitty right now. And that's okay. That's okay. It's what I do with that. It's how I move through those darkened spaces. And it's sometimes releasing my attachment to the things that do feel familiar and comfortable.
What? Yeah, like what? Can you give me an example?
Absolutely. And I'm so willing to share this with you. Just one of the things that I've been dealing with, before we started our broadcast, I told you I was having some vocal issues.
Yeah.
And as most people know, I'm a singer. That's how I make my main source of income. And I've had to take a step back in a lot of ways that have felt uncomfortable because I can't fully trust what my voice is doing right now. Right. Another thing that happened probably 2 months ago is I started losing my hair, which for me as a woman, and just to even take it a step further, for me as a Black woman, hair is so attached to our identity.
Yeah.
And I've had to do my best to release my attachment to it. Right? Embracing accessories like wearing my turban, or realizing, okay, I'm gonna have to cut my hair, and that's okay, right? Because there's a starting over process that I'm in right now in a lot of ways. I'm transitioning in a lot of ways, right? So certain things are being removed, and they're hard. I'm like, for real? That too? Oh, and that too?
Wow, Serena.
Yeah. But as I'm sitting in the contraction, I'm like, okay, what can I release? What can I release, right? What can I surrender to? And I'm learning to surrender.
Like in like the hands-on, real, raw, most like ridiculously real way. Like not just like, I surrender this thing. Like it's like Knees
Yeah.
to the floor,
Yeah.
surrender.
Oh, absolutely. Knees to the floor, head down, like completely bowed. And it's been the most difficult process to do, but in a way, aspects of it have actually been freeing, right? Like
Wow.
once you choose to let go, once you accept, first of all, let's once you accept, and then you choose to let go and surrender, freedom is on the other side of that. You may not necessarily like how that looks per se, but once you release, something else is birthed through that. And that's how I'm choosing to get through feeling stuck and uncomfortable, is
Mm-hmm.
surrendering. And this just so happens to be my path, my way.
What would you say you were gripping onto?
Hmm. Identity is a big thing for everybody,
Mm-hmm.
right? You
Yeah.
know, whatever it is that you cling on to. And that doesn't always serve us, right? When you have certain labels on you
Mm-hmm.
that you constantly wear, and those labels are getting stripped one by one, and then you realize, okay, who am I without these attachments, without these labels, without these titles? And I had to realize, well, I'm still me. I might be missing some hair, but I'm still me, right? I might be going through some issues with my voice, but I'm still able to utilize it in some way. So it's taking my power back, right? As I'm surrendering, also not giving in and folding,
Mm-hmm.
right? I like, trust me, I've had my moments of like mourning the loss of some of my hair, mourning what's happening to my voice, mourning what's just happening to my body as a whole. But then I'm like, okay, what can I celebrate? What can I celebrate? I can still get up in the morning. I still have full matriculation in my body and in my limbs. I still have breath in my lungs. There's still things to be thankful for, even through my tears.
Mm. It's amazing how both grief and gratitude can coexist.
Yes, yes. Ooh, yes, 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 yes. And there was a time when I didn't think that was possible. You know, it's like either one or the other. But it's so true.
Something you said about this stripping of identities, it made me quite emotional.
Mm,
It really touched something in my heart.
hmm.
I would just want to sit with that for a moment to
Yeah.
really like stripping away, and I can imagine um, I mean, Serena, you were a superstar on the Las Vegas stage. You really are a superstar
Mm,
still.
thank you.
And who am I freezing, Serena?
Yeah,
Am I
you
back?
did for one
Okay,
second.
I'm
Yeah.
back. Yeah.
Okay.
Um, what has that process been like of, and I guess also like, what have you learned
Mm,
through the
hmm.
process of the stripping of identities?
Yeah. It's just reminding myself that this is temporary, right? That I'm not going to be in this space forever. Also reminding myself that I have survived storms prior to this that were greater and bigger than this. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm still standing with my head up, and just remembering that at some point this storm will pass and then I'll have a new testimony, right? I always try to remember that sometimes things are not happening to us, they're happening for us.
Mm.
And sometimes what we feel might be happening to us, there's a greater purpose. right? Maybe this is not about me. Maybe I'm just the vessel. And it's hard sometimes.
You're right. Why am I the vessel?
I'm like, Lord, can you pass that over to somebody? I'm tired. I'm so tired. But I do believe that God gives his greatest storms to his strongest warriors. And even though I am tired in so many ways, I know that my faith, my strength, my perseverance is going to get me back up. And I'm going to be able to give my testimony to somebody else who might not be as strong, and remind them that you too can find your way out of the quicksand. You have to be willing to do the work, though. Yeah.
I love how you say testimony. Like I would give my testimony to someone else.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's almost like through our story, through our struggle, through our perseverance, through our storms, and coming out the other side, we become a beacon. You become a beacon for others.
Absolutely.
It's like your hand coming down for them in the quicksand and saying, it's
absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. Because that's what God does for me every time. Even in moments when I feel faithless, even in moments when I question everything that he's doing, he's still reaching back and saying, I have you. I have you. If you just lean in and trust in this process, I promise you, you're going to get through this as well. And so I use all my trials, all my tribulations as my testimony to others.
I can imagine that, people listening to this live or listening to this recording later, I feel like there are people listening who needed to hear your words right now. Like who needed to hear this testimony, even though you're in it.
Yeah. Like so deep in it, but still making a decision to show up for myself, show up for others, even in the moments when I'm like, okay, I don't know if I can muster up the strength. But something I always feel like there's something always bigger than me pushing me to show up.
Serena, how do you tap into, like, as you speak, and I know this about you because I know you well, but your faith, like that faith in that you have, it feels foundational for you. Like it feels like so strong. And even though there are moments where you waver out of like you said, of connection to that faith.
Yeah.
How do you, like, what is your process of connecting to it and like allowing it to carry you?
Just sit and feel that for a moment. Nature is like my biggest connection back to God. Like more than being in a church, more than opening up a scripture. Nature is where I find God the most. It's where I hear him. It's where I feel him. And I try to connect back to nature as often as possible. Sometimes even in my mind, right? Like if I close my eyes, I'm somewhere in the mountains or I'm near water and I could just hear silence around me and just feel God coming in. And that's how I connect back, and wherever I am, I just let it all out, all the tears, the anger, the frustration. Sometimes I yell, sometimes I curse the sky, but I let it all out until there's nothing left. And then that's how I connect back. And even that's not a linear process.
Yeah. Right.
Because sometimes I'm like, God, I don't want to talk to you today.
Yeah. I am angry with you.
I'm angry with you. And I think that's okay to say.
Yeah.
You know, I think that's really okay to say because that's authentic. It's honest. I'm upset right now. I'm upset at you right now.
How do you ask for help from God?
How do I ask for help from God? Gosh, how do I ask for help? Just period. That's a hard one for me. That's a hard one for me. I literally had two of my best friends within a span of days kind of check me on that. And I was really thankful for that, right? I sat with that and heard what they said, and I realized that they were actually correct. You know, innately, I'm a giver. I'm a nurturer. I like to help people, right? So to ask for help in return feels very foreign to me, feels unnatural, it feels uncomfortable. But my friend said to me, because she offered to help me with something, and I said, no, I got it, I'm okay. And she said, she calls me Ree. She says, Ree, why do you do that? Why do you refuse help from people? Don't you think that you're deserving of somebody else pouring into you for a change? And I had to sit with that, and I was like, holy shit, you're right. You're right. You know, because when you don't accept help, especially when it's coming from a good place, not only are you blocking your blessings, but you are stripping that experience away from the other person as well.
Yeah. Because you know how good it feels to give.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. Like from a very altruistic place.
Yeah.
Right? No attachment to that. I give because that's my heart. I don't expect anything in return. To me, that's what giving is, right? And to have people that actually want to do that for me, there goes that word again, surrendering.
And something else that's coming through for me when you're talking, Serena, is like, maybe that is the way that God is trying to give you.
Yes. So that gave me goosebumps. Yes.
Like
Yeah.
through your people, through the
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. Because we're all vessels and we're all
Right.
messengers in some way.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. You're so right about that.
I have my process of asking for help. So I'm going to grab it because I got it right here. You've probably seen this before, Serena.
Yeah.
My God box.
Yes. Yeah.
This is my God box. And it's just like this beautiful Buddha box. And inside, I've just got like stacks and stacks and stacks of cue cards. And it's when I get to a place where this is too big for me. My mind is exhausted trying to figure this and navigate this one. And clearly I'm not doing a good job navigating this one. So it is like a physical expression of surrender where I write it down. I actually also put the date on it so that I can, this one's all the way back from 2020, but I put the date on it so that I write down what, like, dear God, like, this is my prayer. This is my ask. This is my surrender.
Yeah.
Figure this piece out for me. Figure it out. Bring solution to the highest good of all involved, or whatever it might be.
Yeah.
And then the act of like closing the box and saying, okay, God's got that piece. The universe, whatever, they've got that piece. And I'm going to focus on what I do have control over right now, because I clearly don't, I've released that control of that thing in there. And then I love going through them all and writing what happened after, because then it becomes evidence.
Yeah.
And moments where I forget that this works. Because no matter like how many, cards I've gotten here, when I'm deep, I forget that this works, and I forget that I have support and I can ask for help. Yeah.
It's something about when you close the box that just made me really emotional. And I don't even know why, but I don't know. It's just like the physical process of releasing and surrendering by you closing the box. And I'm asking for help and saying, hey, please take this over for me. And I'm learning to do that more and trusting that it's okay. Yeah.
Yeah. It is okay.
Yeah.
In fact, when I go through these and I read what happened, what came next, or the solution, or sometimes it just was like a lot of made up stuff in my head that was, sometimes it was total redirects of my life. And it took years to understand and like come back to the cue card and say, this is what happened.
Yeah.
And all the doors that were closing around me, this is why, like in hindsight, it opened this massive door over here that I couldn't possibly have understood.
Yeah. I love the process of going back and kind of reporting. To me, it's also saying thank you. It's also expressing gratitude, like, okay, you got me through this moment, and here's how. Here's how that unfolded. I think that's such a beautiful, beautiful process.
Yeah. Oh, Serena, this was such a soul-filling, delicious conversation with you today. Like you fed my soul today.
Thank you. Thank you. Likewise. Likewise. Yeah, I needed your energy and your face and your heart and your love. Yeah.
For anyone watching, Serena, who's in the contraction and in deep and in confusion, and what beautiful words of wisdom do you have for them that you want to leave them with?
I'm going to pull from one of my favorite cousins. I was watching something. She's also a recent entrepreneur and went through a series of contractions. And she said something that resonated with me, and I'm trying to implement it. She said, what you do in the wait matters. Right? Because when you're in a contraction, you're waiting for that expansion to happen. You're waiting for the next part, right? Like you said, like giving birth, you're waiting for this beautiful baby to be born, right? But there's a waiting period. And what you do in that waiting period matters, right? So allowing yourself to surrender to your body, surrender to the process. And so I'm leaning into that. What I do in the wait matters. And sometimes that's to not do anything in the moment. Sometimes that is just to sit with your thoughts, with the process, with God, with light, with the universe, and then move when it feels authentic and natural to you. So that's what I would say.
Serena, your words, your voice, no matter what is happening, your voice transcends.
Thank you.
You are the nuggets. I have notes, literally. The nuggets I have taken away from this conversation. Your voice is a gift to all of us, and I want to thank you for that.
Thank you. Thank you. That means the world to me. Even as my voice is struggling, I know that it still serves a purpose. And I'm grateful for that.
Thank you so much for being here with us.
Thank you. I love you with every ounce of my being. I really do.
Oh, and I love you.
Thank you so much. Thank you.